Hi everyone, it's Susan from 50 Not Frumpy. Just got out of the shower, so I'm not wearing any makeup and my hair isn't even completely dry. So you're seeing the total real me today. Please pardon the background noise. There's fellows outside my house doing the end of the season cleanup of sawgrass and all those ornamental grasses that need to be taken up before winter time comes. So there may be some noise in the background. Um, a lot of you have asked me over the years to please do a video about makeup, specifically eyebrows and eyeshadow. I've always enjoyed doing makeup ever since I was a young girl. I can remember being about 5 years old and watching TV and those old black and white movies. The women always had on high heels and they wore red lipstick and they had those thin penciled in brows. And I remember thinking, I can't wait to grow up and do that. Well, even though it may not be the height of style, I still think that being feminine and attractive and wearing high heels and red lipstick feels wonderful. And I celebrate it and wear it as often as possible, if not every day. So today is a normal day. I'm staying home, not really going anywhere. I may go over to my office this afternoon. So this is going to be a basic makeup technique that I would use on every day. My pictures that I've posted on the blog today show you what I do in the evening when I add a little bit of glimmer and shimmer and deeper colors and maybe more mascara. But for the most part during the day, it's very natural, easy look. And the most important part is always the eyeliner that I use. I'm sorry, not eyeliner, but eyebrows. You need to have a little bit of fill in because after we turn 40, our brows start to get a little bit thinner, more sparse, and perhaps you're like me. Back in the 90s, you may have overplucked and now they don't grow back. Mine are too short and they are too thin and they're naturally very high arched. I don't do this on purpose. I don't want it to be that way. It just is. So I'm going to use a magnifying mirror here in front of me because there's no way I can look at you and the camera and do everything at once. So pardon me while I look away just to get the line. Now, when I decide where to start the brow, I lay the pencil beside my nose and go up to the corner of my eye. That tells me where to start the line. I never go any closer than that. So I fill in with tiny brush strokes. This is, I'm sorry, not brush strokes, pencil strokes. This is the smallest pencil I found. It's a crayon and it's by Lancome and it's the lightest color they have. It's blonde, but it's still almost too dark. I don't go on the top of the brow because I'm self-conscious about how much it arches already and how high my brow is. So I tone it down and come below the natural line of my brow a little bit and just pencil in a little bit fuller at the beginning and a little bit fuller underneath and then go down a little bit further than it naturally is, but never going further than that. Eyebrow, eye corner, and the corner of your nose. No further than that. This helps to fill in and balance your look. I go back and brush the whole thing with a spoolie to make it more natural looking. Always blend and brush out everything that you do so that it's not, you don't want to have the look of a Sharpie. Like you've drawn on an eyebrow with a Sharpie. Now this is another one by Lancome. It's just a crayon. It's a little bit quicker, so I'll do this one just for the sake of not taking up your whole morning showing you how to do this. But the same technique, fill in the brow from underneath, make it a little straighter because I do have a round face. A straighter across line is more flattering than another curve. So I try to add straight lines wherever possible in my jewelry, in my glasses, and if possible, and it makes any sense at all, I also try to do that in my makeup. So you can see what a difference eyebrows make. So always fill in your brows a little, try to make it look natural, use a lighter color than you think you're going to need, and blend it really well with a brush. The next thing I do is put on eyeshadow. This is by Sonia Kashik, I found it at Target. It's a palette of natural colors that are really pretty, and they're all matte. It's not any crazy colors, and they're all tones that you might find in your own palette of colors in your own body. And I use brushes. I have, this is a very old little glass I found at Pier 1 Imports probably 30 years ago, and I keep some of my brushes in that one, and then I have two more for different size brushes. So a nice big brush like this one, since I have so much acreage on my eyes, gives me a nice foundation. I do have moisturizer on, but I didn't start with anything else. That's the first thing I do when I get out of the shower. Is put on moisturizer because it traps whatever moisture there is there. In the wintertime, my skin is really, really dry. So I do use a lot of moisturizer in the winter, not so much in the summer. I do pat it on my face, but honestly, in the wintertime, I can put oil on my face, and within a few minutes, it's soaked in, and I feel like I need more. So cleansers are very important too. Don't use an abrasive cleanser because that can make your skin irritated and dry. So find one that's gentle and use it every day in the morning and the evening. I also use toner and then finish up with a moisturizer twice a day. The next, I put the base of a neutral color that's almost the color of my eyeshadow color, because you know how you tend to get that, some people get that oily line where the eyeshadow seeks into that. That's why I start with a matte color. I use this one to kind of set your eyeshadow, or your eyelid, so that you don't have that tendency to get the oil there. So I'm going to use a little bit darker color, this one right here, and blend it a little bit with that one, and then just kind of dab the color in the crease, that darker color in the crease. Now, something you might have been told when you were younger is to use a windshield wiper motion when you're putting on your eyeshadow to blend it. That technique doesn't work so well for us anymore because we have that crepiness in our skin. It just doesn't go on smoothly. It grabs in those lines and creases and that crepiness, and so you don't have a nice smooth line. I use a nice big brush that's clean, and I just dab it on for the most part, and then just gently blend it a little bit at a time, because you can see what a difference that makes. There's something important you need to remember when you're putting on your makeup, no matter what. Dark recedes and light accentuates, brings forward, makes more obvious. So don't use a light eyeshadow if you have a hooded eye, which I do a little bit, but right there, I would never put shiny, shimmery, light color like I did when I was in high school, because it would just make this area look more puffy, and it would come out more. It would be more obvious. So you don't want to accentuate that. So I partially close my eye and just dab a darker color in the corner. So there you go. Kind of de-emphasizes that hooded eye. Okay, easy peasy. The next thing you're going to do is, the next thing I do is an eyeliner. This is by Almay. It's black. And some may say, oh, that's too dark for you, but I don't make a line above my eyelashes. I go beneath my eyelashes. As we get older, this tear, it's a tear line, waterline. That's what it's called, waterline. Gets thicker. It rolls forward because everything goes down. Your jawline, your cheeks eventually end up down here. Your eyes turn outward. So to minimize that, I put the eyeliner underneath my eyelashes, not above them. So it makes the eyelashes look fuller and darker. And another thing I don't ever do, I don't make the cat eye, because of the sagginess that we have in our eyelids now. It's not an attractive look to have the way you hold your face when you're putting your makeup on, when you're looking in a mirror, is different than your resting face. So when you're not thinking about your face and what you're doing or seeing yourself in a mirror, you often have a different expression. I call that your resting face. So you may not have a big silly smile on your face all the time, and you may not be looking as perky as you normally do when you know you're going to be getting your picture made or you're looking in the mirror. So when you have your resting face, if you put on an eyeliner that sweeps up, it's probably going to be sagging. Another thing is our makeup, lipstick, eyeliner, eyeshadow, mascara, everything travels a little bit during the day. So you don't want that line to be traveling down your cheek. So I learned this trick many years ago when I was at Fashion Week in New York. I went into Saks Fifth Avenue, I believe it was, and had a makeup artist do my makeup for the first time professionally, and I just loved it. It was so much fun. And I always remembered what she said about, as we get older, not taking that eyeliner all the way to the end, sort of lifting it up before you even get to the end of your eyelashes. So I've always done that, and it served me well, I think. I'm going to do the other eye really quickly. This takes a little practice and a steady hand and a steady eye, but I'm used to having makeup done by other people, so I've learned to keep my eyes, not look at the brush, look straight ahead, and it makes it a little easier. So that makes a difference. Do your eyebrows, fill them in naturally, brush them, put on eyeliner, dab on some eyeshadow. I could stop now, I'd be okay. But I do like to let the makeup set, the eyeliner completely dry before I do the next step. This is another brow tip. It's a liquid brow definer. I think it's by Maybelline, but it's a little strange shaped brush that if you have gray eyebrows or blonde, whatever the case may be, it's like a mascara for your eyebrows, for the actual hair, so that you don't have gray ones sticking up. So I do use that occasionally when I think about it. It's called Brow Drama by Maybelline. And I use a lighter color. Okay, this is a continuing saga. We're going to keep working on this. Okay, the eyeliner, so that it's blended and not so bold looking. I sort of blend. This is a powder. It's just an eyeshadow. It's called Espresso, and it's from Merle Norman. And I'm using a little, you can see this is a very small blunt brush, and I'm just kind of blending this darkish color, sort of a brownish gray, above the lash line. It's not actually an eyeliner, so it's much softer. It's just sort of a smoky, soft effect. It's not harsh at all. So you can see the difference. Even before I put mascara on, it helps a little bit, because you do have a natural line there that your lashes come from, and it may be white, it may be red, depending on your allergies and the season. So I always diffuse that with a little bit of darker, this color of, it's called Espresso. So that's that. Now the other thing that I normally keep on my table is a Q-tip, and there's another thing that you might not expect. This is a sandwich box, and I keep a wet washcloth, a wet white washcloth in my refrigerator. So I have, when I get up in the morning, sometimes I have puffy eyes. So I learned this trick from my friend who was a broadcaster, newscaster. You get up in the morning and you gently hold that cold washcloth on your eye area, and it helps to amp up the circulation and make your puffiness go down faster. And I also use it to dampen my Q-tip so I don't get fuzzies in my eye. But sometimes you want to go back and smooth out a line, especially if you do put eyeshadow, eyeliner up there. Sometimes it's not in a smooth line like you would like it to be. So that little trick with a dampened Q-tip will help you smooth it out. I don't use concealer because it always ends up looking strange on me. But I do like these pencils. They are by Judith August. And it's called an everything pencil. And I have a couple of different ones. But I go back underneath the eyebrow and just draw a nice little line and then blend it with my fingers. That gives you a nice clean line underneath. It's almost the same color as my skin, so it's not a very obvious thing. I think I scratched myself into sleep there, but that's good to cover that up as well. Another thing that people ask me a lot is, what kind of makeup do I use? It isn't so much what you put on your face, it's what you put in your body that counts so much. A few years ago, I didn't have clear skin. I had unevenness, I had lots of breakouts. A lot of things that I was concerned about because getting older, your skin does change. I also got skin cancer right here and had to have that removed, and so I have a nice scar there. And I'm self-conscious about that, the potential of getting skin cancer again, because that was a trauma and an ordeal. And I know that any of you who have ever had any kind of cancer, you know how scary that is when you hear that word. And so I use a sunscreen every day when I know I'm going to be going outside for any amount of time. I always use a sunscreen. I also am careful about what I eat and what I drink. I have an occasional glass of wine, but for the most part every day, my drink of choice is always just plain clean water. And I have a purifier on my refrigerator and I drink purified water all day. So let's go back to makeup. The next thing I'm going to do is mascara, and just a quick little layer of mascara, one coat of mascara, one or two swipes across the eyelashes. That's all you really need. Too much is for daytime. It just shows up too harshly, so I don't do very much during the daytime. This particular one is one coat, I think it is, by it's Neutrogena Healthy Volume. So I really like that one because it doesn't clump it's not clumpy like some of them are. So the next thing you all always ask me about is lips. So I love my red lipstick and I wear a brighter lipstick than I'm used to wear, but I start with a lip liner. This one is a nude crayon and it's by Lancome, and I line my lips, but then I go back and pretty much fill them in completely with the lip liner. I always go back and blot so that there's a stain of color rather than it sitting on my lips. The next step would be that I use, I'm wearing a blue sweater today, which has blue, of course, strong blue undertones. So I'm going to use, if I can find my lip brush, there we go. I'm going to use a blue-red color. It's from Earl Norman. I think this one's called Cranberry. Yes, Cranberry. And I'm just going to paint it all over within the line I just drew. I put it on with a brush so that it's not a lot. It's also controlling it so that it doesn't go outside that line. See, much brighter, much more cheery. Once again, I'm blotting so that I don't have goopy lipstick all over the place. This one is one of my favorites. This is more like a gloss. It's Yves Saint Laurent, and it's in a tube form, just like lipstick, but it's very, very light, more like a lip gloss, but not goopy. And I don't go all over it, just sort of so that you don't have dryness. And it's very, very light. Okay, so pretty much that's the color. The next thing I would do, this is Absolute by Lancome, and it's one of the lightest colors they have. And I just put a little bit on the top of my hand and I use a foundation brush. And I start with the middle of my face and blend it out. So I put some on just around my nose and in the middle of my face and blend it out from there. I really hate that line of demarcation that that I sometimes get if I don't do this the right way. That shows right there. That's very unattractive, and it's like you have on a mask. So this area around your eyes, normally as we age, it gets darker. So I always bring that color up first. And I don't use a foundation, or excuse me, concealer, because it just kind of makes a weird color and just doesn't work for me. So I don't do that. You may have mastered the technique. I have not. I don't feel comfortable with it. So I always feel like that's just going to be going into my lines and creases and showing up that part even more. So simplify, simplify. That worked for me. All right, so the next thing I do is just blend everything carefully. And then I take my wet washcloth and get my hand stamp and just sort of set the makeup. So that's, rather than spraying anything on it, it makes it dewy and soft and blended, and it feels comfortable. The next thing I'm going to do is put on a little bit of blush with a big fat soft blush brush, and this is again Merrill Norman, and this color is Dusty Rose, which is sort of the color I have when I actually blush. And I just dab it high on the cheekbone so that I have a little bit of color. I'm not just the same shade all over my face. A little bit at the chin. There, that's my daytime makeup. It's easy, it's comfortable, not much to it. I do want to talk to you about evening makeup. This is a kit I got from Lancome. It's called Audacity in Paris. And it has some metallic colors in it. I don't normally use metallics, but if you wanted to make your look a little bit more evening-like, you could put a little bit of darkness here and a little bit of shimmer right in front of it to bring it up a little bit, bring up the color and the shimmer and the depth a little bit. It's hard to see that in this lighting, but in person it shows pretty obviously. And then the other thing I was going to tell you is a brighter lipstick. And another thing that I wanted to show you is some contouring if you got brave and wanted to do that. This is by Kat Von D. Kat Von D. And it's powders that you can do contouring with, and there's different colors. So I just wanted to show you with my round face what a difference it makes just to do a little bit right there and blend it really well underneath where you put your cheek color. It's just a line. So kind of looks a little more like I have a shape to my face. And sometimes in the evening I do this, but normally just put a little bit of blush and let it be. I hope my tips have been helpful to you. I bring everything I share with you is shared with an open heart and with a genuine hope that what I've learned will help you to have a more comfortable and happy second 50 years, and that you have a lovely holiday season. Thank you so much for joining me today and for all your wonderful comments on Facebook recently. It means a great deal to me. Thank you. Have a great day.